Hare Krishna. We are reading this evening from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 9. This chapter is entitled The Most Confidential Knowledge, text number 10. Maya dhakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam hetunanena kaunteya jagadvi parivartate. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. This material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction. O son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings. Under its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. Purport. It is clearly stated here that the Supreme Lord, although aloof from all the activities of the material world, remains the Supreme Director. The Supreme Lord is the Supreme Will and the background of this material manifestation. But the management is being conducted by material nature. Krishna also states in the Bhagavad Gita that of all the living entities in different forms and species, I am the Father. The father gives seeds to the womb of the mother for the child, and similarly, the Supreme Lord by his mere glance injects all the living entities into the womb of material nature, and they come out in the different forms and species according to their last desires and activities. All these living entities, although born under the glance of the Supreme Lord, take their different bodies according to their past deeds and desires. So the Lord is not directly attached to this material creation. He simply glances over material nature. Material nature is thus activated and everything is created immediately. Because he glances over material nature, there is undoubtedly activity on the part of the Supreme Lord, but he has nothing to do with the manifestation of the material world directly. This example is given in the Smriti. When there is a fragrant flower before someone, the fragrance is touched by the smelling power of the person, yet the smelling and the flower are detached from one another. There is a similar connection between the material world and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Actually, he has nothing to do with this material world, but he creates by his glance and ordains. In summary, material nature without the superintendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot do anything, yet the Supreme Personality is detached from all material activities. So, nowadays, whenever people come across anything which is supernatural, especially when it is in connection with spirituality, anything which is supernatural, either it should be just for entertainment, just like some Harry Potter movie or some fiction movie, something which is, some alien entities coming on this planet, invading, and these kind of movies or storylines, books. Well, it's good for entertainment. But then, when we quote scriptures, and these kind of fantastic descriptions are given in our scriptures, just like this verse, when Krishna is saying that this Prakriti, entire material nature, is under my supervision. It's working under my supervision. Oh, so our scientific mind, the scientific brain immediately questions. Really? And you think I'll believe that? That this entire material nature, or of course, they also call it nature, scientists also call it nature. There is something called naturalism. We'll come to that. But the essential question is, Are miracles scientific? What do you mean by miracle? Something you see and the cause and the source is unknown. If in a very simplistic way one would define what is a miracle, a phenomena of which the cause and the source is unknown. At least you agree? We can be on the same page that this could be defined as miracle. You go to a magic show. What is a magic show? You are simply amazed, you are simply dazed looking at those magic tricks. You know, from a handkerchief, a pigeon is flying away, or a rabbit comes out, all these kind of things. A human is cut into two, and then again joined. So all these things. So why we are fascinated by a magic show? Because we are seeing something which ordinarily our eyes cannot see or our brain cannot comprehend. You see something miraculous happening in front of your eyes which science cannot explain as far as the source and the cause is concerned, right then and there as your naked eye is seeing it. Of course, yes, there is a science behind magic also. We know that it's simply a trick. हिंदी में जिसको कहते हैं हाथ की सफाई है केवल, परंतु इतनी सफाई से की जा रही है, हाथ की सफाई इतनी सफाई से उसने किया कि हम आजकल तो ऐसे ऐसे जादू के ट्रिक्स होते हैं. Someone sent me a video of a guy. He just goes randomly meeting people and showing them tricks. It's not that he has a stadium and an audience and over there. So he asks one of them that, give me a coin from your pocket, write something on that, some initials of your name. So that person writes initial on the coin. He eats that coin in front of everyone. Now of course, we may be wondering, anticipating that he will maybe take out the coin, he'll open his mouth and you'll not see the coin. The basic, the old school tricks are that the coin is underneath the tongue. I was also assuming that, but I was shocked. He had the coin, the impression of the coin sliding under the skin of his arm. So he was doing that. Maybe someday I can show that video. And the coin is, sliding under the skin. And then he has a sharp blade, he cuts his wrist from here, and then he takes out the same coin with the same initial with little blood of his on that coin and shows. We may call it miracle. Yes. Something which cannot be explained. So something which cannot be explained, something which cannot be comprehended by our whatever grey matter is here, miracle. The question again, I come back to the question, are miracles scientific? Now that is the question, essential question which we have to deal with tonight in our talk. So now again, you are all studying science, body of knowledge in which you understand and you believe when there is an experiment on it. There is a hypothesis, but then there is the experiment and the result. One definition of science is when things are explained and understood as it is. proof, evidence, result, experiment. These are all words which are used for the scientific brain, by the scientific brain. Just look at this body. Now, just this one human body of ours, if you look into the miracle of this human body, even Charles Darwin, who was an authorized atheist, recognized, authorized, bona fide atheist. And even Charles Darwin said that when I try to examine the human eye, how this human eye functions, I am in total disbelief that how come this human eye could have come by chance. By chance. This human eye, the kind of technology which, we so casually use these eyes practically every day, day in and day out till we die. But then you go and ask an eye specialist that, try to know about how the human eye functions, how it's been designed, where it's been placed. Just this one limb of our body. Charles Darwin, he himself was confused. He was doubting his own ideology, just looking into the human eye. Now, when he is questioning this, that how come such an advanced human eye, or any other species, their eyes, some of these species, their eyes are like owls, and they can see in dark. How can this come by chance? I hope you know about the chance theory. Huh? If you don't know, then you are not authorized scientific people. Chance theory, that everything came by chance, the Big Bang theory. So what is the Big Bang theory? There was nothing. And there was a bang which was caused by nothing. So just try to use your logic and let me know if you agree to this. So there was nothing in the beginning and a bang which was caused by nothing to the nothing. And because of this Big Bang which was not caused by anything to the nothing, everything came. Wow. And now you expect me to believe that? So okay, now definitely when we talk of science, science definitely is very powerful. Otherwise, all these technological things which we are using and getting the results. You have a smartphone, you make a call, you do so many things from that smartphone, and yes, you can see the results. It's happening. It's not just fake. It's happening. But where is the problem? When science goes to the extent to say that they have solutions to all the problems, when they go to say that we don't need anyone supernatural beyond this nature, this existing earth planet, and we are the ones who are going to tell you everything about this earth and how it functions and make it function the way you want. When they claim that, well, that is something which is unacceptable. It's like saying Donald Trump, the President of America, very powerful person. He might be powerful in his own country. But if he starts saying, I am the president of every country on this planet, that is like a scientist saying that we can play God. Yes, Donald Trump is powerful in his own region. but he cannot claim presidentship over every nation, even if it is Sri Lanka, even if it is Burma, even if it is Bhutan, Nepal, whichever other country, small country. So, now there is this school. This school is called the School of Naturalism. What is the School of Naturalism? Natural phenomena, they have natural explanation. The things which we see around, okay. So when you ask how the human eye, it functions, how the heart pumps the blood, how the brain functions, everything, they have the natural explanation for that. Good. Definitely. They have all the medical and scientific jargons to be used to explain how systematically the system within our body works, how the system, the cosmic systems, how they work, function. Everything is explained. Like, there was a time when Europe, it was plagued first time with this black plague. And 1/3 of the population was wiped off because of this black plague. It was so deadly. And then there was, people who were the believers of the supernaturalism. They said, because at that time, in those areas, there was a lot of these, witch hunting and witchcraft and black magic and all this kind of stuff happening. So they came to the conclusion that some witch hunting and some, curse on us because of which people are dying. Now this medical science, they researched that it was because of germs that this black plague was spreading. And they said that if we would have believed in what? In these superstitious beliefs, then would have never found out the medicine for black plague. So they saw that there is a natural phenomena, there is an epidemic, it's a natural phenomena, and that natural phenomena has a natural explanation, and also we have a natural remedy for it. Where is your God in between? Why do you have to believe in something supernatural happening and all that stuff? Yes, to this extent, there are so many natural explanations to that. But then, if this question is asked, that is everything explained in naturalism? Or there are things which cannot be explained, like talking about the human body. So, scientists, they thought that can we replicate the mechanisms of the human body artificially? To some extent, yes, they have done. You have the pacemaker for the heart, you have dialysis for the kidney. So artificially, the kidneys can run. Artificially, the heart can be run. So they decided that if we take all the systems of the body, the brain, the heart, the kidney, the pancreas, the stomach, the intestines, the bladders, all of these you put together. Forget about all of that put together. They thought, let's try to artificially replicate the digestive system, the human digestive system. And they found that this little stomach within every human being, and practically all throughout the day, it's always functioning, because especially human beings, they keep it active all the time. 24/7 कि पिछला पचा नहीं और डाल दिया है, अभी इसको भी पचाओ, अरे पिछला अभी तक पचा नहीं है, वो पिछला क्या, वो पिछले हफ्ते का अभी तक बैठा हुआ है, वो डाउनलोड फाइल नहीं हुई अभी तक, अपलोड किए जा रहे. So they tried to replicate the human digestive system, and they found that if we want the precision at which the human digestive system works, then we'll have to have a plant in acres. For one human digestive system, they'll need a plant which will be spread in acres, and it will cost lakhs and lakhs of rupees. And that's just for one day of digesting one day's meals. So now, how do you explain this? How is it happening? Who is making this happen? So you see, there are extremes, of course. They're giving the example of the Black Plague. So there is one extreme of this school of people who think that everything happening in nature is supernatural. There cannot be any natural explanation. Everything is supernatural. That's their explanation. That's one extreme. The other extreme is the scientists or the followers of naturalism. They say that nothing is supernatural, everything has to be explained with the natural phenomena around us. But then the shloka which we took, wherein Krishna is saying there is something in between. Krishna is saying that this material energy is functioning, but under my supervision. So herein, when Krishna is saying under my supervision, maya adhyakshana prakriti, which means supernatural aa gaya na ek element. But then prakriti, which is the natural phenomena. So the natural phenomena supervised by the supernatural is complementing each other. They are not contradicting each other, but they are complementing each other. So very classic example with which you can understand. You have seen the game of billiards. So you have so many balls on the table, and then you have players, sometimes two, more than two. And what they are doing, they are having sticks, and there is just light on the table, and everything else is dark around. And you have the players, they just hit one ball, and the ball hits another one, then it hits three more, the snooker, and then you will find that sometimes 2-3 balls simultaneously they go into some 2-3 holes. Now imagine if somebody is giving you an aerial view of the billiards table. The match is going on, and the camera is fixed in such a way that only the table is visible, and you only see sticks coming from corners here and there. You are not seeing the players. You are only seeing the sticks coming from here and there, hitting the balls, and the balls hitting some other balls in the perfect pattern by which the ball which is supposed to go into the hole is going into the hole. So you are viewing that, the aerial view, only seeing the table with the sticks here and there jutting in. What will you conclude? According to physics, you can write a theory of how the balls hitting each other going into the holes. You can prove it using the laws of physics. But is that all? Is that all? What is the most essential question which the natural brain will ask now? If you are talking about naturalism, the natural brain will ask where these sticks are coming. Huh? Who is using these sticks and hitting these balls? Isn't that a natural question to ask? Like Srila Prabhupada, he was sitting in his room and a scientist came to meet him. Prabhupada was, that time, he was having his bead bag and on a rocking chair, and the scientist, he started to give his scientific explanation about the theory of creation and the Big Bang, the chance theory, and he was going on and on. Prabhupada, with little closed eyes, he was rocking on his rocking chair, fingering his beads, and the scientist, he went on and on. So this was because of that, the centrifugal force and the centripetal force, and this was because of that. He explained all the gases and that and that. And Prabhupada kept on asking, and then, like that. And he went on explaining all, using all the bombastic scientific jargons he was explaining. Finally, he reached to the point, it was because of the Big Bang. And he stopped. And then Prabhupada opened his eyes, looked at him, why did you stop? And he looked at Prabhupada, means, well, till this point you were giving explanation and reasons that this happened because of that, that happened because of this. When it comes to Big Bang, my question is, why did you stop? Who made the bang? Who made the bang? Huh? That's what. In the beginning there was nothing, and there was a bang which was caused by nothing. So the nothing bang from the nothing created everything. Now, if I really want you to be convinced with this, our Vrindavan base, Academy for Culture and Education, this building, ground plus 3, this building, you know how it was built? You can ask our Sahastra Shrisha Prabhu can explain how it was built. So he got all the bricks, cement, reti, khadi and rods, and he piled up. He piled up everything like a pyramid, and he put dynamites all around it, dynamites. And then there was a big bang. And lo and behold, in just small time, there was this magnificent building with everything, all the interior and lightings and rooms and bathrooms and kitchen. Here you are. Huh? The Big Bang Theory. Huh? So, yeah, you may not call it Big Bang because a small building came up, the universe came up, so Big Bang, so it's small bang. You are laughing. You are laughing at science and you are studying science. Huh? Whom do you belong to? Which side you are on? The question is. So, herein, you see, definitely the example I gave of Black Plague. So that is one extreme, the superstitions. That everything, like yesterday, I was speaking for a Gitamrit class about the laws of karma. And I give an example of cricket. That in cricket you find that yes, how you perform, those many runs you will score. So I gave the example of the scoreboard. You see on the scoreboard, India 220, the opening score. Huh? So somebody might think that the scorekeeper is biased. हाँ? किसी ने इसको घूस खिलाई, इंडिया की टीम ने घूस खिलाई है इसलिए इंडिया को 220 ओपनिंग स्कोर बता रहा है. Another explanation would be that the score is by chance. ऐसे ही randomly कोई वो नंबर्स यहाँ वहाँ हिल गए, आ गए 220 आ गया, या किसी ने 220 लाने के लिए 420 ही किए. And the other is, yes, India scored in the previous inning. And you see now in this inning, the opening score is 220. But then you find that these cricketers, I showed a small video of these cricketers, they have their own superstitions, although they have the skill sets, they have trained themselves into bowling and batting, but then, like, there was this Australian cricket player, Mark Taylor. He had this superstition that whenever he would go to bat, he would make sure that in the pavilion all the toilets, the commode lids were shut. And he would not go to bat unless he was sure that all the toilets in the pavilion, the the lids were shut. He would do that and then go. And if he would be out, say clean bowl in just the first over or the second over, he would go back again to check किसने उस खोला उधर. Another one, he had a handkerchief in his front pocket, and he would make sure that that handkerchief, the way, the pointed thing was coming out always, even if there is a catch, he is to get a catch, he would first look into handkerchief bahar hai na, then he would catch. Otherwise, catch छूट गया मतलब handkerchief अंदर गया, वो कारण है. Catch छूटा मतलब handkerchief बाहर नहीं था, है ना. और कपिल देव would look back, हाँ याद है कपिल देव, पवेलियन से आता था पहले पीछे देखता था. कितने सारे ऐसे, they have their own, which means they consider that there is some unknown power element which will help us. And sometimes no matter how many unknown, all these kind of, you may kiss the bat or you may kiss the ground or the pavilion or the pitch or the ball or whatever. Sometimes you feel the same team जिसको पाकिस्तान को हराया इंडिया ने फाइनल में बुरी तरह से हार गई, है ना. Now you will find on TV, there will be program after program, news channels. Why did India lose so miserably? And that too against Pakistan. अरे कम से कम श्रीलंका से हार जाते, बांग्लादेश से हार जाते चलता था, वो भी फाइनल में पाकिस्तान से हार गए, है ना. कितना बड़ा मातम पूरा देश मना रहा था. I was there in England, and India lost. And practically people who were coming for the programs, कि ऐसे मुरझाए हुए चेहरे बैठे हुए थे. Indians who came for the programs like that. So मैं समझ गया कि इंडिया हार गई लगता है. So sometimes people, they come for Hare Krishna program. If India wins, they come for the program to thank God. हाँ भगवान ने हमारी लाज बचा ली. And sometimes when India loses, still they come for the program. और तो कुछ करने के लिए है नहीं, चलो अभी भगवान का नाम ही लेते हैं. इन्होंने तो नाक कटा दी 11 लोगों ने तो, like that. So always there is this something about the unknown element within our lives. Especially even if you will find that like this movie, they made this movie, PK. This PK movie is all about don't dial the wrong number, dial the right number, which means don't believe in anything which is superstitious, religious, spiritual. They're all just fake hoax. And then I was told that the मुहूर्त होता है ना, फिल्म का शुरू होने का फर्स्ट शूटिंग मुहूर्त होता है, वो मुहूर्त से पहले नारियल फोड़ा गया, अगरबत्ती जलाई गई, यज्ञ होम वगैरह हुआ. और मूवी किसके ऊपर है कि ये नारियल फोड़ना, ये दूध चढ़ाना, दे आर ऑल नॉनसेंस. और वो मूवी को सक्सेसफुल बनाने के लिए they were doing all that. So you will find, like one of our senior brahmacharis, he was telling that before joining the brahmachari ashram, he was member of the atheistic club of his college. So they had a group of students, they were the members of the atheistic club. So one of them was starting a business. So he invited, the inauguration of his business and invested a lot of money in that. And he was the same member of the atheistic club, and he was, in inauguration of his business, he had a panditji come and there was a homa and yajna and all that. And the other members, they saw, "Ye kya kar raha hai tu? Haan? Dal badlu ho gaya." So he said, "See, I have doubts whether, he exists or not. I'm still member of this club only. But, I have invested 30 lakhs in this business. In case if he exists, क्या है? I want to check chances. अब तक ठीक था, अब तक कोई पैसे वैसे इन्वेस्ट नहीं किए थे ना, सो फ्री में सब लोग बोलते हैं वी डोंट बिलीव इन गॉड. बाद में जब जॉब इंटरव्यू और ये वो है, जॉब इंटरव्यू में लोग तिलक लगा के जाते हैं. देयर वाज वन guy who was an atheist who went for a job interview and he went outside, किसी मंदिर में जाके तिलक लगा के आया. तो उसको पूछा गया कि तू तिलक, अरे वो बॉस ना उसके सर पे तिलक देगा, मैं एंट्री कर रहा था वो, तो थोड़ा जॉब मिल जाएगा इसलिए तिलक लगा के आ गए. सो व्हेन इट कम्स टू some pressing things which we want, we don't mind believing in the unknown. Many times we don't even know who is that unknown, where does that unknown live, whether it exists or not. But wherever he may be, or she may be, or it may be, whatever it may be, may I get through what I want, through that unknown power. So, you see, that's not how we have to understand the principle of supernatural things happen in our lives. So there is something called the three ways by which this approach is done. The first is called the induction method. The second is called the deduction method, and the third is called the abduction method. So when it comes to, we'll take the third one, the abduction method is, it's not that, the meaning, the other meaning of abduction means to kidnap. So abductive approach is like how you understand something. Say for example, someone has been murdered, and now the police comes, it's a crime scene, they cordon it off as a crime scene, and now the inquiry starts, the forensics, they come and they are looking for some clue, CCTV footages and all that. So man has been murdered and they are trying to now find out the killer. So what they do, that they take the CCTV footages. According to the autopsy, the body was murdered between 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. So then between 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. the CCTV footage is how many people entered into this house and how many left this house. So then they see that, okay, so a small child, the small child, he cannot have this much strength to kill. Because the way the person has been murdered, the small child cannot have this much strength to kill. So the small child cannot do that. So abduction, usko bahar nikalo. Abduction means you keep abducting the options. For the possibility of that thing to happen, you keep abducting all the options, and what remains, that becomes a reality. That's called the abduction method. So okay, then the CCTV footage shows that the servant, he enters at this particular time, and then he leaves in 1 hour in between 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. So he is the suspect, he is the prime suspect. There are some things missing also. He entered at the same time when the murder took place. He is the prime suspect. But then there is a flaw in this. Sometimes these crime movies and the suspenseful crime movies, all the obvious suspects are never the killers. They will always show the obvious suspects as if, the audience who are watching, they will find that, okay, he is the killer. But then someone else who is appearing to be very innocent, and you always see him around, and he is the one who is also helping the police to find the killer, and at the end, he was the killer. So in this abduction, the flaw is that yes, the CCTV footages and everything is in place, and all the leads are leading to one prime suspect, but there could be a situation wherein there was a secret door from behind, someone entered, he didn't come, he was not captured in the CCTV, and he was the one who killed in mentally. Then what? So it failed. So which means this method fails. Then the other is, it's called the deductive. Deductive is, it's like mathematical, like 3 plus 3 is 6, 2 plus 4 is 6, like that. You deduce it. So the deductive method, and you come to a conclusion. But then there is something called inductive. Inductive is that if something has happened for 1,000 times, like say for example, 1,000 people, they buy Samsung Galaxy, and exactly 1,000 of them, they are able to use equally all the facilities of Samsung Galaxy. So what will be the inductive understanding now? The 1,001 who will buy the same Samsung Galaxy will also get the same result. Is that true? You agree? But then there are cases that some of these pieces, when you put that for charging, Samsung ka hua hai na, it might explode. Like LPG cylinder. Generally LPG cylinder, so many, practically everyone in India uses LPG for cooking. But still there are blasts. Putte na cylinder. So you will have 10,000 cylinders working perfectly well. But there might be one which might not work according to the previous 10,000. So the question is, how do you explain this? For that, then you have to understand that there is some power which is beyond explanation also. Yes, we may say that there was some flaw here and there, but then the question is why that flaw only came in this one cylinder, why that flaw didn't come in the other cylinders when the other cylinders are also coming from the same company. Am I getting you confused? Are you with me still? हाँ? आप लोग डाउट कर रहे हैं कि 2 महीने पहले जो थे वही हैं क्या? हाँ? दूसरे तो नहीं आ गए? So, with this, when we are talking of can miracles be scientific? Yes, because there are things like, there is this Dr. Penfield. Now this Dr. Penfield, he is a pioneer in neuroscience. Now, you see, according to neuroscience, whatever we do, all the different, bodily limbs which we use, it's all connected to the brain. All the functions are here in the brain. Your eyes, movement of your eyes, movement of your hands and legs and everything else, the signals all transmitted from the brains, according to neuroscience. So this Dr. Penfield, he did an experiment. What he did, on a person, he had artificial stimulation to the brain given through electrodes. What naturally the brain gives stimulation to the various systems of our body, instead of that, some external source of stimulation was given to the brain using the electrodes. So when the external stimulation was given, the man lifted his hand. हाथ उसका अपने आप ऊपर जा रहा है. So Dr. Penfield asked, who is lifting your hand? आर यू लिफ्टिंग योर हैंड? ही सेड नहीं, मेरे को नहीं हाथ उठाना था, पता नहीं है ऊपर कैसे आ रहा अपने आप. यू आर डूइंग इट, यू आर डूइंग समथिंग. So he came to the understanding that right now I can explain that he is not wanting to lift the hand, but I am making his hand go up using something artificial, something mechanical. So then he is asking the question, when I remove the electrodes, which means it's the same mechanical thing happening in the brain, who gives the command then? Because if it was just the mechanical brain, I did the same. So who gives the command to the brain to lift the hand? Just like electrodes gave the command to the brain to lift the hand. When the electrodes are removed, who instead of the electrodes give the command? A big question. Herein we are talking of now what? Something which is beyond the scientific explanation, which is supernatural. Like, there is something called, which science and they don't have any instrument by which they can explain, that if someone is angry on someone, then how much is the intensity of that anger? Just like nowadays they have machines by which they can detect that a sleeping man is dreaming right now. There is a term called REM, rapid eye movement. So if somebody is sleeping and if he is having REM, rapid eye movement, उस समय उसका सपना आ रहा है किसी का, इसलिए उसकी आंखें, बंद आंखें उसके अंदर से हिलती हुई दिख रही हैं. So according to all the scientific deductions, they come to the conclusion that this sleeping man right now is having a dream. But then if you ask, what is he dreaming? That we cannot explain. So it has its limitations. They can explain that someone is dreaming, but they do not have a device by which they can enter into the mind or the brain of the person and tell right now what that person is dreaming. अरे वो तो छोड़ दो, जो ड्रीम ले रहा है वो उठने के बाद भूल जाता है क्या ड्रीम लिया था. हाँ, कोई नाइटमेयर है तो उसको याद रहता है कि सो रहा है और उसको ड्रीम आ रहा है एग्जाम चालू हो गया, हाँ, पढ़ाई नहीं किया है, हाँ, और एग्जामिनेशन पेपर में खाली गर्लफ्रेंड का फोटो दिख रहा है जिसके साथ पूरा साल भर बिताया, हाँ, और वो पास नहीं करेगी अभी. So like I was giving a talk in London, and there was this one lady. She's a neuropsychologist from Hungary. She was there in the crowd, and she was giving her arguments that I was talking about that how if somebody says that I love you, then is there an instrument or some barometer, some device which can gauge that what is the intensity of that love within the heart which this person is having for the other one? So this lady, she said, well, there are ways by which we can find out that if that person, we can make a questionnaire, scientifically finding out कि उसने जो बोला है आई लव यू वो कितना मानता है उसको, how much that the person mean. So there is a questionnaire, in that questionnaire yes no yes no yes no करके you can find out कि इसकी intensity 60% था बोलने में. So I said okay, questionnaire, so which means you are going to give the questionnaire to the person and he has to say yes or no. What if he fakes it? What if he fakes it? He says everything yes, 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 100% आ गया. So how can you determine that your questionnaire is correctly answered by the person? For that, do you have a device? Or you may have a lie detecting machine. Huh? So they have a lie detecting machine. But even that can be cheated. Because some people, they are so confident in lying also. That even the lie detecting machine believes, सच्ची बोल रहा होगा. इतना confident है ये बोलने. Even that is not foolproof. That is not 100% perfect. So the point is over here, I don't want to confuse you more. The point is when Krishna is saying Maya Dakshina Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam, that just understand that this material energy which is functioning in such a fantastic way, it is functioning in a fantastic way because there was someone who is so fantastic who is supervising this functioning. Now, of course, people, with the scientific brain, they might say, so you are talking about that is Krishna. Huh? Krishna. Why Krishna only? So Prabhupada was asked, why Krishna only? So Prabhupada said, you have someone better? If you have someone better, let me know. I'll be interested also. So this basic question, people have, like yesterday I was discussing about laws of karma. So people, especially when it comes to karma principle, either they believe that there is a supernatural power, or else they have these questions, why do bad things happen to good people? जब मेरे साथ सब कुछ अच्छा चल रहा होता तो laws of karma, I am the karta. When something bad happens to me, like I'm giving the example of this Sehwag. So he hit double century, and then after that there was a catch which was missed by the West Indian fielder. And he said, God is with me today. And if he would have caught that, then he would have said, God is not merciful to me. तुरंत अभी भगवान किसका सुने? वहां पर भी प्रार्थना कर रहे होंगे उसी भगवान से कि कैच पकड़ ले, छूट गया कैच, ये भगवान ने करवाया, और ये भी भगवान ने मेरे को करवाया, मेरे को बचाया. So like story is there. This man goes to a barber, get a haircut, and then the barber sees, he has neck beads and tilak. So he says, so you are a spiritualist? He said, yes. Oh really, you believe that there is a God? Yes, I believe. But see how many people are suffering outside. How can your God be existing when all these people are suffering outside? So he takes this barber outside on the street, and he shows, some beggars are sitting on the street, and he says, just see them. I think barbers do not exist. I say, why do you say? See, look at the long hair, the shabby hair, no haircut, these beggars sitting here. Huh? So if they are having no proper haircut, according to your logic, barbers also should not exist. I said, come on, they are not coming to me. Same answer. उनके बड़े बड़े बाल हैं क्योंकि वो लोग तुम्हारे पास जा नहीं रहे हैं. So yes, of course, this is a very commonly known story with very simple logic in that. But of course, the karma principle is more intricate than that. Everything about the karma principle, Krishna himself says that Gahana Karmano Gati, that it is very, very intricate. But still, as a human being, it behooves upon us to not just understand, but to also apply the principles in our lives. So therefore, even though we may have all the scientific knowledge accumulated, for us to claim to be the modern scientific advanced human being, but when it comes to the human relations, when it comes to living as a human being beyond just the mechanistic lifestyle, we need that satisfaction, fulfillment from someone, from that element which is beyond the physicality of our existence. And therefore, when we are talking of living as a human being, no matter how many scientific gadgets you may have the most advanced of all gadgets, but then to interact with each other, you need living people. You may be having 3,500 friends on Facebook, but why they are on Facebook of yours, your account? Because they have some faces somewhere. They have, you may not be able to face them, but they have faces somewhere. And at the end, you can't just embrace your laptop and all your friends embracing your laptop. Yes, now I am satisfied. I have all my beloved friends in my arms. Why? Because I am hugging my laptop screen, which is showing 3,500 friends on my Facebook page. You need people to interact. When you're talking of people, you're talking of their emotions. You're talking of love. You're talking of trust. You're talking of relationship. And all these things, they are beyond science. They are beyond science. So therefore, at the end, we have to take shelter of that science which will help us use this science in order to get out of this Prakriti and take shelter of the supervisor of this Prakriti, who is saying that I am giving you the formula by which you can live very ethically and peacefully whilst you are within this nature of mine, which is material nature, and then I'll give you the formula and the know-how by which you can leave also and come to me forever. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.